Happy day, beautiful souls. My name is Dr. Atiya K. Jones, and today's message is inspired by the question, how do you build a nation? Followed by a request to talk about Natal. Now, as a metaphysician, I sometimes channel from other dimensions. In one such conversation recently in the realms of the spirit, I was requested to talk about Natal after I was presented with the question, how do you build a nation? And once the question was asked, it wasn't for me to answer it, but for me to present the question for thought. And the statement that followed the question was this, and I quote, "The elected ones crack through the crux of the earth's atmosphere. Many don't know they fight a war I never started. They are fighting a 1930s war. Don't forget, but move on." And that was the statement that actually followed the question, how do you build a nation? Let me start out by saying, nature knows best. That's why we let it grow naturally. One can spend years building the foundation, building the core, yet once you build the core, it's time to take it to a wider audience. It's like a pyramid you are building, and the heavy part is on the bottom. That's the foundation. Now, a person who reaches the pinnacles of success must always leave home to discover the quintessential aspects of who they are and to gain clarity of purpose. It is not necessarily about change as much as it is about cultivating your true self and fine-tuning your style. Change is not a necessary evil that one must embrace. I like to think of change as more of a soul evolution and life transformational journey where one comes more into the truth of who they really are and come into their own through experiences in time and space. To take the time to extend your hand to reach out to others is not about running away from your roots or who you are. It is more like expansion and making room in your assemblies. It's an unfolding, which brings me to a surah in one of the holy texts entitled The Star, which is Surah 53, which is also referred to as the unfolding. It also brings to mind another surah called Al-Mudadir, or the one wrapped up, or the cloaked one, which is Surah 74. You turn that around, you have 47, which is Muhammad. Now, to crack through the crux of the earth's atmosphere is to clearly and freely subdue and overcome the workings of the flesh, and to overcome and shatter into pieces everything that bounds you or obstructs your rise to your higher self. You know, beloved, the greatest battle is within self. Often what stands in the way of your success is your own self. Let's get something straight. You cannot build a nation. A nation is born. It's born out of true and real love, which is not rooted in conditions. Nation means to be born or birth. Natal means to be born. The birth of a nation is a natural process. It's not forced. A nation of gods, as it is often referred to, is a nation of love. 1 John 4:7-8 says, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God, and God knows. He that does not love does not know God, because God is love." It goes on to say in verse 16 that God is love, and whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. True and real love gives birth to peace. There is no compulsion in peace. It is about acceptance. being accepted and accepting others for who they are. True love asks for nothing. Her acceptance is the way we pay. The etymological root of pay is to make peaceful. True love asks for nothing. Her acceptance is the way to make peace. The acceptance of the nature of a thing is what actually brings about peace. The minute you stop rejecting others and casting them away as worthless or lowly is the instance that you will experience peace. Everything has a purpose. And as Romans 8:28 of the biblical text says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. The price of redemption is peace. The price of redemption is the value, honor, prize, and the reward of making good on a promise that was made and delivering from spiritual death. Spiritual death is not knowing God, otherwise not knowing love, unconditional love. And that is what brings about peace. Some refer to it as Islam. Nature knows best. She is often referred to as Mother Nature because within nature are the restorative powers and the principles of life and successful living as a multi-dimensional being, because that is who we are. Now, there was a time that I wouldn't say this, but I am a natural woman with supernatural abilities. And when I came into the acceptance of self, that is what gives me the audacity to say I am a natural woman with supernatural abilities. My very nature, the essence of who I am, is God. I am born of God. I dwell in God, and I am a guarantee to last through forever and another day. True and real love cannot be contained. It cannot be restrained. It must find expression. And so, beloved, when you study the form of a pyramid, it looks like the shape of a triangle, yet it is multi-dimensional rather than flat. The pyramid represents consciousness, death and rebirth, integration of self and soul, harmonious union with the higher self. It is a connecting force and increases energetic conduction. So I'm going to say it again. Nature knows best. And nature and nurture goes hand in hand. Nature is to give birth and nurture is to nourish that which has been born. Now that's another subject, so I won't go into the details here. True love is within. And when you learn to love yourself unconditionally, this is when real love or real God steps into your life in the form of a well-made man or specially prepared woman born of God, born of love. True love is faithful, trustworthy, honest, steadfast, and consistent. Real love is genuine. When something is genuine, it is natural, innate, not something that you can acquire or earn or procure. It proceeds directly from source. I am a natural woman, and true and real love is the key to my peace of mind as a natural woman. Love is the key to the peace of every man and woman of God. So there now, I have done as requested and presented the question, how do you build a nation? And in presenting the question, I have completed what was asked of me, and that is to talk about NATO. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and may you be blessed forever in peace, love, and light. My name is Dr. Atiya K. Jones. Bye for now.